Greetings. Welcome back to Hellhound's Late Night Spook Show, Season 6, Episode... Were you made that far? Who knows? It doesn't matter. Yeah, Hellhound's Late Night Spook Show here on the Horror Metal channel. There's another re-review of a video I did when I first started this channel 6 years ago. And today we're going to be redoing my review of Hellraiser from 1987, written and directed by Clive Barker. So, Larry Cotton, played by Andrew Robinson, and his wife Julia, Claire Higgins, have just moved into a new house in the city. Unfortunately for them, Larry's sadistic brother, Frank, Sean Chapman, has just escaped from hell and is hiding out in their attic. Julia previously had an adulterous affair with Frank, and eventually goes upstairs and finds him as a skinless and vulnerable zombie. Yeah. Frank needs to feed on human flesh in order to regenerate and become whole again, so Julia agrees to lure unsuspecting men up into the attic to become Frank's lunch. After this goes on for a while, Larry's daughter Kirsty, played by Ashley Lawrence, comes to visit and accidentally discovers what her undead uncle and Julia have been doing. She also discovers the puzzle box, a mystical device with the ability to open doors to other dimensions or planes of existence. She steals the box from Frank and flees, unaware of the power that it contains. After collapsing and waking up in a hospital, Kirsty accidentally solves the puzzle box and summons the Cenobites, 4 demonic beings from another realm that are obsessed with sadism and torture. When the Cenobites are informed that Frank has escaped their clutches, they are less than pleased. Time to raise some hell. Where Clive Barker gets his ideas, I will never know. Yeah, he directed this movie and also wrote the screenplay, and it's based on his novel, The Hellbound Heart. It's an adaptation of his book. The man is a creative genius and master of the horror genre. This is one of the most unique and original movies I've ever seen, with some of the most interesting creature designs as well. Pinhead, the Cenobite leader, brilliantly played by Doug Bradley, quickly became a popular horror icon and the star of the series that followed. Bradley made the part his own and will always be the one and only true Pinhead to me. But as great as a character as he is, I do prefer him to play a more minor role like he does in this film. Hell, he didn't even have a name yet. He was just referred to as the lead Cenobite in the credits. In the sequels, he became the main focus, and again, I think it's better if he's just a supporting character and not like the main villain that the movie's all about. It's just better that way. All the other actors here do a great job as well, except for maybe Robert Hines, who plays the rather pointless character of Kirsty's boyfriend Steve, who really has no business being in the movie at all. You know, he brings nothing to the story whatsoever. You know, why is he there? I don't really understand the point of this character, but who knows. Sean Chapman also owns as the S&M obsessed villain Frank. He makes for a great antagonist whose actions set in motion the events of the movie. And I've always loved Andrew Robinson as well. You know, he was also in Child's Play 3 and Pumpkinhead 2. One of my favorite episodes of the Incredible Hulk TV series. And probably his best role was, of course, as the villain in Dirty Harry. Yeah, I've always been a fan of Robinson. I wish he would have did a little more. But he was in quite a few horror movies, so there's that. And the rest of the cast is all great, too. Claire Higgins, Ashley Lawrence, of course. She's a great lead. They're all great. Aside from having a very compelling and intricate story, this movie has some of the best visuals I've ever seen as well. The few brief glimpses of hell, which we see a lot more of in the sequels, are simply superb, as is the monster makeup of the various creatures that inhabit it. I've never seen Lucifer's pad depicted in such a vivid and imaginative way. But I can go on and on about how this movie lives up to its reputation as one of the greatest supernatural horror films of all time. But I'll go ahead and end this review by saying that anybody who enjoys more fantastical horror flicks with great characters and special effects should definitely check this one out. Oh yeah, I love Hellraiser. It's a classic. It was followed by quite a few sequels. Hellbound Hellraiser 2 is a great, great movie. I do prefer the original. I think the first film is better by a hair. I prefer it slightly more, but this is a very, very, very good follow-up that I definitely recommend you check it out. Ashley Lawrence returns as Kirsty, as does Doug Bradley, of course. Sean Chapman has a brief cameo as Frank, and Claire Higgins returns as Julia, who pretty much becomes the main villain, along with Dr. Channard, who is an evil director of an asylum who actually becomes a Cenobite himself. I've already reviewed this on my channel, so for my full thoughts of this excellent sequel, check out my review of that for more info. Then there was Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. This movie's okay. It's kind of fun, you know. This is where Pinhead really became the main focus. He's the main villain. It kind of just feels more like a generic slasher film. You know, it's not quite as in-depth or compelling as the first two. And it's just kind of stupid and ridiculous. But as I said, it is pretty entertaining. Just some cheap, dumb fun. Not nearly as sophisticated as the first two. But it has its moments. I reviewed this one as well, too. So check out my review of Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, for my full thoughts on that movie. And I've also reviewed Hellraiser Bloodline, the fourth film in the series. Hellraiser Bloodline's okay. It's pretty much in the level of the third film. It's not nearly as good as the first two, yet again. It's Pinhead in space for a lot of the movie. You know, hell, the Leprechaun and Jason went to space, so why not Pinhead? I do kind of like how the movie switches between the past, present, and future, and Pinhead battles a man and in the present, as well as one of his ancestors in the past and one of his descendants in the future. It was kind of a cool idea. We see the origin of the puzzle box, which I guess is cool. And Valentina Vargas plays for a pretty cool femme fatale. But overall, it could be a lot better. But it's decent. And that's all the movies I reviewed on this channel. I haven't reviewed any others, and I don't really plan to. But just my brief thoughts. There's also Hellraiser Inferno, which really has no business being a Hellraiser movie. Pinhead shouldn't even be in it. He barely has a cameo. And they just gave it the Hellraiser name and put Doug Bradley as Pinhead in it just to get people to see it. It has nothing to do with the series. And a lot of people argue that this is a really good movie. Maybe so, but it's not a Hellraiser movie at all. It's not a true entry in the series whatsoever. But it's okay, I guess. Then there's Hellraiser Hellseeker, and after a while, these sequels, again, they just slap the Hellraiser name on just to get people to see it, and they have nothing to do with the series. Pinhead's in this one a little more than Inferno, but it's just forgettable. I don't remember much about it. Kirsty Cotton, played once again by Ashley Lawrence, returns from the first two movies, but she's barely in it, and I don't even really understand why they put her in it. It doesn't have really any continuity with the first two, so what a waste. It's just a missed opportunity. It's pointless. And most of these sequels are just kind of a psychological mind warp where you can't tell what's real and what's not. Everything's either, is it a dream or did it really happen? I hate movies like that. The only one that really pulls it off is Phantasm. This one does not. I'd say skip it. And there's Hellraiser Deader. Just, yet again, another pointless sequel that shouldn't be called Hellraiser, shouldn't have the Pinhead character, and probably shouldn't have even been made. Hellraiser Hellworld, I applaud this one for actually making more sense than the other sequels post Hellraiser Bloodline, but because it does take place mostly in our world, and you can kind of tell what's really happening, but it still has no business having the Hellraiser name or the Pinhead character. It is just really, really stupid. And then there's also Hellraiser Revelations and Hellraiser Judgment. I don't have either of those. Doug Bradley didn't even return as Pinhead. It's some other actor playing him. A different one in each movie, actually, and I don't recommend them at all. They pretty much flat out suck. So, well, that's it for the Hellraiser series. Hellraiser is one of the very, very few horror films I actually wouldn't really mind getting a remake, but having said that, I think it should be a more proper adaptation of the book, The Hellbound Heart. And it should be more like that, and maybe not really classify itself as a remake, just another book adaptation that follows the source material a little more closely. Because I just love that story, and I love those characters. I'd love to see it being told again, only if they did it properly, though. So again, if they did remake it, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, only because most of the sequels suck, you know. But having said that, the original's perfect as it is, and it really doesn't need to be touched. So, yeah. check out Hellraiser. Definitely check out Hellbound Hellraiser 2. And if you have time, if you just want to, a simple, cheap thrill or a time waster, watch 3 and 4. And as for the others, I'd say avoid them. Again, Inferno has its moments, but it's not really a Hellraiser movie, so whatever. But anyway, always have this awesome film. Alright guys, thanks for watching my review. I'm Hellhound. Thank you for joining me here on the Late Night Spook Show on the Horror Metal channel. Until next time, later.